Today we are excited to be reviewing Mega Construx Halo Heroes Series 14, the latest assortment of individual card-back micro-action figures to be released by the team at Mega Construx. Whilst this wave has received a mixed reception online due to its arguably bland nature, there are a couple of standout figures in this wave, so we wanted to take the time to break these figures down and also compare them to their prior releases. Before we dive deep into this video, make sure to like the video if you enjoy it, and also subscribe here on Podcast Evolve to join our community. With that out the way, let's dive in. First on the list is a purple Spartan, and your eyes don't deceive you, it is indeed another Mark 7, making this the third Mark 7 which we have received as a part of the Halo Heroes line. Whilst the sculpting here isn't anything new, the figure itself does look really good, with some great detailed paint applications and also some nice alternate colour highlights. The silver visor colour here for this Spartan is a particular win in my opinion, and unlike the other versions of this Spartan, the Mark 7 doesn't come with a bulldog again, but rather it features a needler, with a gorgeous colour scheme which feels akin to the Halo 5 design. All in all, the Mark 7 isn't really anything new, but it is a decent variant of this armour, even if we are a little bit bored about receiving it so frequently. Accompanying the Mark 7 is a Spartan Trailblazer, another figure which we saw in the most recent wave of Heroes characters, also in a similar white colour scheme. As I mentioned, the white colour scheme here does mean that I've had to use a different background in these shots, and there's also a light silver highlight colour for this figure, with blue and grey digital camouflage adorning both the torso and the helmet. Whilst the patterns for this look quite pronounced on the box art, it's a mixed bag on the figure itself, with the patterning looking good on the chest and the back, but on the helmet where there's the softer plastic, the paint is perhaps a little faded. With that said, this is a really nice first attempt at the armour coatings which we already know we're going to see in Halo Infinite, and I'm excited to see how Mega take the concept of coatings further. This figure does include a really nicely detailed version of the SMG, which features some gorgeous lighter grey and silver highlights, even featuring highlights for the tactical rail. The paint apps here are exquisitely applied. Third on the roster is an inclusion of another Master Chief, something which I was initially taken back by given the already oversaturated presence of Chief in Mega's line. With that said, this version does in fact offer something different, with a much darker tone of green used that more closely matches the most recent E3 trailer. The darker colours pair well with the black highlights, and in particular with the black battle damage on Chief's chest, which is printed well. The figure includes a nicely painted Mangala too, complete with the usual rotating drum. This figure is a slightly more distinctive variant of Chief than others available in the line, but I do wish that it had included a forearm with the grapple shot sculpted in, as then it would be even more distinctive in its own right and would have more value against all the other variants. On the subject of rehashes and re-releases, our fourth figure is a brand new variant of Hyperious, this time adorning a much darker colour scheme. When compared to the version from the turret set, we can see that this new version no longer features exposed legs or fingerless gloves, instead opting to double down on the crimson details marking him as a banished chieftain. I really like the Hand of Atriox logo printed on this figure's helmet, and the Hunter class helmet, which is commonly speculated to be Locke's, is also still present on his shoulder. He also includes a grey jetpack, just like in the turret set, although I do wish that this was printed since I don't believe we've ever received a printed jetpack before, or jump pack even. His gravity hammer features much more subtle detailing this time around, with greys and reds used to make the features pop, something which looks really good. Hyperious is a welcome variant with enough visual distinction from the original version, in my opinion, to make it worth picking this one up. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have a hyper-detailed version of the Jackal freebooter, complete with a lighter skin tone and also covered forearms. This figure features a plethora of paint applications when we compare it to the similar version found in Warthog Rally, and we have additional paintwork for the feet, as well as additional paint on the chest armour, and even on the back of the figure down into the upper portion of the legs. All of this really adds extra depth, and it's worth noting that the figure even has painted feathers on the arm, something which the original version of the freebooter is lacking. And it's also worth noting here that it does use the brand new alien hand mould. The shield here uses the Guilty Spark eyepiece to better resemble the central generator portion of the shield, and the plasma pistol is really well detailed as well. Whilst initially not a fan of the lighter skin tone, I honestly think this is a great Jackal variant which collectors will want to get their hands on, and probably the best figure in this wave. So that's a look at the full series, but what do I think? While Series 14 has a couple of interesting characters, it's unfortunate that it suffers from the inevitable weight of the infinite delay, meaning that the figures here are not particularly new or exciting. Whilst characters like the Jackal and Hyperious feel like genuine upgrades in my opinion, they still don't hold a light against the Chieftain and Warlord from the previous wave, making this one of the weaker Heroes waves to release so far. But hey, who knows? Maybe this is just a filler wave because the next wave is going to knock our socks off. With all of that said, I really hope that you've enjoyed this closer look at Wave 14 of the Halo Heroes figures from Mega Construx. Let me know your thoughts on this assortment in the comments down below, and as always, evolved.